Dear Rental Scale-Up members, today I'm with Chris Maughan. He's the CEO of I-PRAC, which is a global short-term rental trust accreditation platform. As you may know, consumers are more and more demanding, right? People have been talking about the awareness about short-term rental industry. Now, the awareness is here, and consumers are starting to be educated. They have higher standards, really. They have more expectations about staying in a place. So how you, as a property manager, how can you express that you are a professional? How can you differentiate yourself? And with Chris, we'll be talking about how you can do all that so that you perceive not just a fancy cleaning company, not just an operator, but a real business that provides value. So without further ado, Chris, welcome. How are you?
I'm very well, Thibault. Pleasure to be here, finally.
Exactly. So Chris, what does, in a few words, what does I-PRAC do exactly?
Well, I-PRAC is a global trust platform. So basically what we are is an accreditation, and we verify and certify professional, trusted short-term rental professionals around the globe as I-PRAC approved, which then they get their I-PRAC certificate logo so they can present that to their potential guests, customers, partners, so that they can show that they've gone through a robust application process to become accredited by a recognized body within the industry. So that's where I-PRAC stands. It's not a booking platform. It's not anything like marketing platform. It's purely an accreditation platform that provides that accreditation logo for people to just kind of look at it and go, they're I-PRAC approved. That means they're operating to a certain professional standard, and that's what I-PRAC stands. It stands for International Property Rental Approval Certification, and that's what we do. We're a global trust accreditation platform.
And Chris, I think this, as I was saying, right? We're talking, before shooting this video, we're talking about expectations of high net worth clients or big corporations when they want to book a villa, for example. That's something you know pretty well. You've been in the industry for 21 years. You are a property manager. What can you say about maybe using your own experience, either from I-PRAC or from the industry side, the other side of what you do, about these rising expectations? How do you see that? What you see people are getting educated about this. How do you see that?
Well, I think after 21 years in the industry, you kind of feel that a lot of the time you see corporates leading the way and how most of the business is carried out. So like in our business here in Cannes, we work with some of the leading brands around the globe, like Google, Spotify, Twitter, Disney, and we provide their accommodation here in Cannes for the festivals that they visit. And even though we're not coming to them with the ideas, they're actually giving us their demands, and their demands are quite clearly kind of say, look, we cannot put our our executives in certain standard of apartments. We can't take these kind of risks. So what they're coming up to us to kind of say is, this is the standard, this is the protocols that we need you to represent when you're accommodating our team. And it is all about standards. And I think this is where a lot of, health and safety is huge. And I think that's something that a lot of people just don't recognize today in our industry. They say they do, but they don't do the work and the accreditation behind health and safety to confirm that you're providing a health and safety conscious apartment. We all know accidents can happen, but you have to be doing the maximum that you can as a business to rectify these before they can happen. And I think these big businesses and big brands are really pushing for higher standards. Otherwise, they kind of for many years, they went into hotels and, they felt comfortable with hotels. They knew what they were getting in a hotel. And once kind of the standard of short-term rentals kind of came to market, and there's a lot of, real high-end quality properties out there, it was interesting for them, to kind of say, listen, what, we can rent a villa now. We don't need 10 hotel rooms, but it has to be at the standard. The cleaning has to be on point, the service has to be on point, the health and safety on point, everything working. And so I think you've got to be operating at that level where it's really attention to detail is key. Otherwise, these companies are going to look at you and think, no, you've got a nice property, but managed very badly. And that's the difference. You can have a nice property. It's very easy to display a nice property on a website or on an OTA. It's what happens after that. You know, after the booking has been made and that client arrives, what's the standard of that experience? What's the standard of the service? What's the standard of the cleaning? What's the health and safety? You know, all of these kind of aspects. So that's what we've learned over the years working with these big brands. Their expectations are very, very high. And so we have to deliver, you know, and if you're not prepared to deliver, you don't get in.
So expectations are very high. I think both from corporation, actually from individuals as well, right? Because people are learning, right? So how, as a property manager, how may I express that I'm a professional? How do I, before people book, how can I differentiate myself from the others? Either on my website, on the platforms, people know I'm a professional who will be delivering on the standards you just mentioned.
I think the most important part to do that is through, obviously your own website is the easiest way to do that. But I think that again is a problem today because so many of the bookings are coming via the OTAs. So the OTAs are very, they're very protective of what marketing, what descriptions are being used and photographs are being used on the OTA. So it's very difficult for a provider, for an operator to give their whole kind of company, view of who they are as a brand, a trusted brand, professional brand via an OTA, because the OTA are kind of blocking all of that information anyway. And the booking's already been made via the OTA so really the customer's trusting in the OTA, the brand of the OTA rather than the brand of the operator. So I think that has to come within the description of the OTA. But if you've got your own website, then this is where I believe today, 85 to 90% of short-term rental property managers direct booking their own website is well below par. Well below par. They're not investing in the standard of their own website, the content on the website. And this is where we have to get better, so they have to build that website with trust and brand and in mind, rather than just a basic 4 or 5 page website that's just showcasing properties and a contact number. We've got to get more detail in the brand. So if you're not working on your brand, your mission statement as a company, your expectations as a company, where you're heading as a company, these are important factors, and you do this through your content on your website, through your marketing. I talk about trust marketing and product marketing a lot, and they're not the same. And people just kind of say marketing. So let's differentiate the marketing factors. Okay, you can market the fact that you've got beautiful properties and you've got fantastic, great locations and different things like that. That's product marketing. But if you want to go down the other side, which is trust marketing, that's nothing to do with product. That's about who you are as a company, who you are as a brand, what you represent this industry. And that's probably what more people are looking to see now. Like, I know that I would rather book through somebody who's got a brand awareness, brand name behind them than somebody who's just, got a nice villa to rent. So for me, property managers need to start investing more in their own website and driving people to that website. Driving people to that website, even when they're staying with it, have a look at our website and putting all of the quality content about trust, sustainability, your mental health initiatives, the quality of your company, when your company was founded, who are the founders, what's your mission, and all of these aspects go towards building that trusted professional brand that people can believe in and trust. And that's really what the whole end goal needs to be.
Chris, that's fantastic. And I really love the way you differentiated between product marketing, great photos of a great villa, and trust marketing, which has to do with, the company, what the company stands for, who's behind the company as well, right? It's like that what am I doing? Who are these people? Especially if you're going to shell out a lot of money, you kind of want to know who's behind, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for this insight. Super well structured. So if people, Chris, people want to know more about your company, want to talk with you, to talk about trust marketing, for example, what's the best way to reach out to you?
You can contact me directly. My email is chris@i-prac.com, but all of the contact details of the company are on the website, which is www.iprac.com. And I'm happy to talk in depth all around trust, because that, I believe, is the future of our industry and where it's heading. I think if you're not heading in towards being professional and getting to that high standard, then over the next 2 to 5 years, you're just going to be, right down at the bottom of the ladder where no bookings are going to come in, And I guarantee that even OTAs in the future will have to start thinking about changing their model to kind of think it's not just about getting as many listings on the site, it's about getting the listings professionally managed. Because this I believe is quite a big problem with that. Airbnb, Booking.com, they do a fantastic job to the industry, 100%. And their brand awareness and their brand trust is on point. That's why they give so many bookings on a weekly basis to so many global people. I mean, if they couldn't do that, then they wouldn't have a business. But if you look at what they do, is they own the consumer, they own the customer. Because if you look at it, let's take Airbnb and Booking.com as the two main ones. They know that they don't own the property that's listed on the website. They also know that they don't have any control over the property management company who's listing the property on the website. So what they do know is we can control the customer. And the way to control the customer is through confidence, trust, and that's how they keep coming back to them all of the time. So I do believe that OTAs will start to look at, we can't just have anybody listing on our site anymore. Things are happening. We need to get higher standards. We need to be recognized as a booking platform of trust, a little bit like what kind of Marriott are doing with their homes and villas. They're kind of going out and literally saying, you can partner us. So they're not like a huge OTA. They're choosing specific property managers who fit their criteria. And I think that's the model for the future, for sure.
So thanks again, Chris. And that's really something, I mean, recently on Rental Scale, to know more about the topic, we talked about plum guide curation, for example, aggregation versus curation, which is a great topic as well, I agree, in the industry. So thanks for your time today. And I wish you a great day in France.